Hello. So in this video, I'm going to be talking primarily about Sea of Thieves and everything going on with that currently. I might also address some other things, but primarily this is just going to be about Sea of Thieves. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so Sea of Thieves. As anybody who's been watching this channel for the last year knows, I started Sea of Thieves last August, which will be next month, so will be my first full year in the game. Now, typically, I am not really that big into online games. I like games that have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and maybe some DLC down the road. Particularly, I try to wait until a year or two has passed since most games come out, because DLC takes about a year or two to fully come out before they move on to another project or the next project in this series. So this was my first year really embarking into a game that I thought I was really going to love. And on some levels, I do really love the game. I like the aspect. There are things about the game that not only do I love, but I also hate. So I guess looking at this, you could look at this whole conversation as a major review of Sea of Thieves. Now, I love the aspect of exploring the danger of certain places. And yes, sometimes it's even interesting to have an open world where you can be attacked by other players at any time. I have a friend who plays an online game, Final Fantasy XIV, and he has told me that there is hardly any PvP in that game. There is a PvP system, but it's like a specific arena that you have to go into and play kind of like this mini game and battle other players to achieve the mini game, and he's not real fond of it. So, okay. I'm glad we don't have a system like that. And it is very interesting that you do have that system, but that's going to lead up to the biggest problem. So before I get into what the biggest problem is, let's talk about some of the other problems. As you might have noticed on this channel, in the last few months, I've posted 2 videos where I came across cheaters. And no, I did not try to fight back. They're cheating. I can't win. My clear goal there was to merely expose them. And in the last one that I did, it was so bad, the guy didn't even care that he had been, revealed. He openly admitted that he was a cheater and that there was nothing Rare could do to stop him. Now, first off, I play on Xbox. My daughter has a copy of the game, and she plays on PC. We do play together sometimes, but most of the times, I just play the game by myself on my Xbox. And, the fact that cheating is becoming a major problem. And Rare has addressed this. Recently, they released a statement about the number of accounts that they banned. But the guy I last found basically said it doesn't matter what they do because he'll just make a new account and he'll be right back on. And other YouTubers, Happy Kraken, Captain Falcor, they've all pointed out the same problem, is that they'll just keep making new accounts and getting back in. What they need to do, in my opinion, as the others have said, they need to get Microsoft to start helping them out, or they need to write something into the code that prevents this, that prevents these cheats from even being possible. I don't know what they can do besides that, but I really do hope that they will stop. And to all the people who are using cheats out there, okay, I'm really baffled here. Are you really that pathetic that you cannot play the game the way it's meant to be played? I mean, it's not like you're cheating to level up. You don't get better stats or abilities by quickly leveling up. The only thing you do in this game is work to get skins. That is it. You have a better option at cheating in online games like Final Fantasy XIV, where you actually have to level up a character. And from what my friend has told me, that is very long, very difficult, and takes a lot of time. Which I guess I covered by saying it's long. But the point is, or Call of Duty, or, I don't know, maybe Fortnite. I never played Fortnite. But, I mean, this is like cheating at Minecraft. There is no reason to be cheating in this game. Unless you are purposely trying to destroy the game. In which, if that's the case, hey, great. You're doing a good job. Keep it up, because that's what's going to happen. And then you'll have wasted your whole number of years you've been cheating to destroy a game that, for what reason? That's what I can't fathom. I can't even understand why. That makes no sense whatsoever, being that you're not trying to level up a character. All you're doing is pissing people off to the point where, guess what? They don't want to play the game much anymore. More and more of these streamers that I've been watching, they used to actually, just play Sea of Thieves. But I have been seeing more and more of them going on to other games, cutting back on their Sea of Thieves content. Now, you could chalk some of that up to the game needs, some new life. But a part of it, too, comes from the people who are cheating. The people who are sitting there destroying ships for no reason. Like, no point at all. Other than, what? To satisfy, to entertain you for a couple hours before you go back to your pathetic life where you know that you suck? I mean, that's the only thing, that you could do as a cheater. I mean, you can't do much else. Otherwise, you wouldn't be cheating in one of the lamest games to cheat at. There's literally nothing worth cheating for in Sea of Thieves. Because you're not getting points to make your character any better. And if you're found out, you're getting banned. And then like the guy said, he'll just create a new account. But then you don't get your stuff. And you gotta start all over. And you gotta keep cheating to get your stuff back. And then you'll get found out again, and you get banned again. Then you just make another account. You see the point here? It's pointless for you because you just can keep losing everything. So, they're trying. They're really trying to work on something. And I really hope they do get it to a point, but part of it needs to come from the community. And this leads me to the real biggest problem with Sea of Thieves. The biggest problem with Sea of Thieves is the community itself. Where do I begin? Alright, so yes, PvP is an option in the game. This is a PvE PvP game. Player versus environment or player versus player. Or both. And there are people out there who are not cheating, but are not helping either. There was one day I logged into the game with my daughter. Me and her, we just finished picking up supplies, getting on our ship, and we're just getting ready to set sail when another ship crashed into us while we were docked and prevented us from leaving. We just spent money, we just spent our time supplying up our ship, getting ready to set sail. We weren't going to do anything major. We weren't going to go We do not set sail in Sea of Thieves with the intent of attacking other players. We set sail to try to find treasure, to try to do quests, to try to do the tall tales. Those are the things we want to try and do. We want to experience this world, experience the story. But these guys crashed into our ship and started killing us. Over and over and over. To the point where it was basically harassment because they weren't making our ship sink. They were shooting our mast. They were shooting our wheel. But if they did any damage to our ship, they repaired it. And they bucketed our ship so it would not sink. But we couldn't sail away because we couldn't get the mast up before getting killed. We couldn't raise the anchor before getting killed. And their whole thing was, just quit, just quit. But we just spent our time and energy getting our ship supplied. So, that right there, my daughter quit for the night. She was like, screw this. I'm not going to play. And she didn't play for a while. She was so angry, she didn't want to play the game. And if this is happening to us, now me, I'll admit, I'm stubborn. I refused to let these guys win, and I kept trying everything I could to get out of it. And the guy's like, "Oh, well, you're not using everything to your advantage." Every time we respawned in, there was two of them, one on the deck, one below. They blunderbust us in the base, and we instantly die. And they just kept doing this. And there's nothing I can do about it. And supposedly, according to them, that kind of behavior is tolerated by Rare. They have no problem with people doing that to other players. You know what, though? Some players are going to get so frustrated that they can't even leave the dock without getting harassed by other players, that they're not going to come back. That they're going to quit. Now, the only reason my daughter has come back is because I've kept playing and she'll see me having fun or me doing something interesting, and then she wants to give it another try. But this is ridiculous. This is why the community is the biggest problem. Yes, do you know how rare it is to actually come across good, decent players? There's a quest line in the game that not many people have achieved. It's the Glitterbeard quest. And yes, there are some players out there who have done it, but not many. And those players who have done it have been very lucky. You know why? Because to achieve this quest, to successfully get this quest, you need 8 players. That's either 2 full galleons or 4 full sloops. And there's only so much space on each server. And older players hardly help out newer players. Like I said, I'm just getting to the end of my first year in the game. And yes, I've met some good people, but it's been very far and few between. Most players just, they always use the excuse, well, this is Sea of Thieves. Okay, thieves, not murderers. You're not a real pirate in the real world now in this world. This is a fictional world. Killing should only be if necessary. Like, oh, am I shooting you? Then yeah, shoot back. If I'm in the PvP hourglass, okay, I fully expect you to be completely combative. That is why you went in the hourglass. And that is, another community issue. Is during Season 8, Rare gave us the PvP hourglass system. And for the life of me, I don't know why. I thought, hey, great. PvP on demand. Players, they're going to use that hourglass to go fight other ships. Maybe this will open up the world for us players who are in it to experience the story, collect up a little treasures here and there, make some money, experience the tall tales. But no. Nope, that wasn't it at all. Most players will still attack you if they come across you. And I watched a video once where they talked about the 3 players of Sea of Thieves. The first one being the PvP player. The second one being the Lorist, I think it was. And that's like just PvE. And then the hiders. But, a lot of times that's the thing, is you have to be a hider because of the fact that it doesn't pay or make any matter if you are doing PvP. Because if you're not good at it, there's no chance of getting better. I said in a previous video, this whole boarding thing where you get boarded and spawn camped. Rare's okay with that. Rare's totally fine with that, according to the players. Rare doesn't give a crap. So, how can I get better at a game if I have no chance? If you get onto my ship and you're blunderbusting me as soon as I respawn, and that's an instant kill, what shot do I have to actually improve my PvP skills? There is no shot, no chance, because I can't learn a thing by getting shot as soon as I'm loaded back in. And to be fair, there is some system problems too, where we get black screened sometimes for very long amounts of times. Be it when you die, when you take a mermaid, when you're coming back from the Ferry of the Damned. Those are major issues with the game. But getting blunderbuss as soon as you spawn back in, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, doesn't teach anybody anything. And all the players that do it only tell you, well, get better. Get better. You can't get better. You can't learn anything if you're stuck being killed over and over and over again. So let's see. I've talked about the combat. Okay, so I do, I feel that there are some solutions, and I will state that at the end. But just remember this part of the conversation, because this is going to be important to what Rare can do to fix things. So, the other problem with the community that I've witnessed is just players who are selfish and think that the game should be tailored to them. That Rare should change the game because they don't like the way that it's going for them. Now, you're probably wondering, what do I mean by this? Well, I have gone into the PvP Hourglass system, which I feel is greatly misused. Mostly because of the fact, like I said, you have PvP on demand. You can go and battle another ship at will. But I still get players who will come and attack me just because I came in their line of sight. I sometimes get hit on by brigs and galleons, and all I ever basically take out is my sloop. So basically, it's a higher crew that just is picking on smaller crews, smaller ships. And yes, I am getting better, but I'm doing my best. But the second I know that I'm outmatched by a brig or a galleon, and I start running away to try to hide or get to a safe place where they leave me alone, they'll instantly go, oh, you're running, quit running. Well, I'm not there to fight you. I didn't shoot at you. I had this one experience. I was sailing. This was during the gold mystery thing that Rare did, which we'll get into that later. And I luckily came across this galleon, and they were like, hey, what are you doing? And I explained, I'm just sailing around to each island. I'm looking for those gold coins, which I never found one. I wanted to find one. I don't know if they're still out there, but I wanted to find one. I didn't find any. But yeah, I was just sailing from island to island, and when they caught up with me, I was like, very cautious. I sailed around an island. They stopped, and I came up behind them with my cannons ready to fire, and they're like, well, don't shoot. We're not going to harm you. They asked me if I wanted to join an alliance. One of the most odd, interactions I had. And because they were nice, I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm not really doing much. I'm not on my own little quest for the evening. So, yeah, sure, I'll try joining an alliance. If they betrayed me, they betrayed me. It's fine, it's the risk you take. 90% of these alliances always end in a betrayal. You can't trust people. I've had, very exciting adventures. And in a rare blue moon, when I don't care, I will alliance with people. And I'm true, but I am always expecting that betrayal. But yeah, the idea was we were going to split up so we could check double the islands and double the time. And that's all they want. And all they were looking for was loot. So I started sailing off to Kraken's Reach, or Kraken's Fall. And on the way, a brigantine came up and started chasing after me. And I stalled them long enough by sailing around to where the galleon came up, and then I turned and I helped the galleon sink the brig. So, there's a reason for the story. So, that time actually ended quite well. The brig was pretty mad, and they came back and they tried to get us again. They did sink me, but that's only because they did get the best of the galleon while the galleon was busy with the skeleton fleet. But if it hadn't been for the skeleton fleet, the galleon could have taken out the brigantine. But the brigantine came back after me once the galleon was gone, because I was on my way to go help the galleon. But they were surrounded by 2 skeleton sloops and the brigantine, so they were outnumbered. They should have called me earlier. I would have been on the way. But anyways, moving on. Hourglass PvP. What did I mean by these players, they want it tailored to them? Well, I watched a video recently of a YouTuber named Just Venom. So if there's any fans of Just Venom, I'm sorry, I'm going to point out the flaw in his logic. I'm going to point out how he's not a very good player. So, if you want to give this a dislike, that's fine. If you want to leave a nasty comment, I'll probably delete it. But anyways, he made a video stating that Sea of Thieves has a problem, and he was basically pointing the finger at the Hourglass PvP, saying that, yes, while there are cheaters, that there was something worse than cheaters, that there are players who are going into the Hourglass and, in his words, running from him the entire time. And that he had to spend 45 minutes to an hour battling this one ship, because every time he shot his cannon and landed a couple hits, the ship would take off in the opposite direction. Now, maybe you're the kind of player that will also say, yes, that ship is running, is a coward. But here's my question to that. When you go into the Hourglass PvP, you are put in a circle. The circle is only so big. If you don't have the sailing skill, yes, a player can run from you, I guess if you want to put it that way, for as long as they want. But that's not a sign of cowardice, more a sign of strategy and strength. Why do I say that? Well, because I do that. And doing that is in itself a strategy. If I know, I've said it before, I know that I cannot handle very well against PvP. And I try my best not to let a single person get on my ship. If I hear the cannons fire, you can guarantee I'm turning the wheel in a different direction. I'm dropping anchor and doing an instant turn. I am not giving that player the chance to get on my ship, because they know that there's only certain ways. And I know if I keep my distance, they can't swim to me, because I can outsail them. I can out-battle them by sailing around, using real naval combat strategies. I had a PvP match that lasted 2 hours. 2 hours because this guy put us in a circle. Well, I mean, the system put us in the circle, but where he was right by some islands in a fort, and there was plenty of islands for me to run around. And he tried. He sailed after me and kept coming. He tried to board me like 10 different times. He tried to board. He tried to cut me off. But everything I did, yeah, I took damage. Once in a while, I took damage from a shot because he got too close. Or I hit a rock and I took damage. But I outsailed him. I tired him out. I exhausted him. And he started making more and more mistakes. And this guy tried every trick in the book to get on my ship. From firing himself over in the cannons on his ship, to firing himself over from an island, to rowing over to my ship with a powder keg, to just flat out swimming in the water. But he failed. He did not get on my ship. And I was able to outsail him. Finally, after he was making too many mistakes, I had the perfect trio of cannonballs to lay into him, so I was able to get close enough. I struck him with a few cannonballs, then a sleep ball, then a ballast ball, and he hit a rock and he sank. I tired him out. I exhausted him or made him so angry that he was making foolish mistakes. And this guy, he tried spamming me with messages to my Xbox. He tried cursing me out. You know what? If you don't have the gall to go into a PvP match and expect that you might just be in this match for a while, then, as I told Just Venom, just quit. If you can't handle it after 20 minutes, quit. Because there is no shame in playing to your own strengths. My strength is not with PvP. You know what it is? It's sailing those ships. It's sailing those ships. It's maneuvering around, so I have at least a chance. And these people that I've seen, I mean, Just Venom himself, on his video, said he already has the ghost curse. He already has the skeleton curse. I have neither. I don't have either one. I'm trying to improve at PvP, but I don't go into a match expecting that the match is going to be over in under 10 minutes. This is not Call of Duty. This is not Fortnite. I don't know really much about Fortnite, like I said earlier. This is Sea of Thieves. The idea is that you have to sail your ship. You're in a circle, so you can only go so far. It's a very martial arts style of combat. You are against your enemy. You're circling your enemy, waiting for your chance to strike, waiting for them to mess up, waiting for them to make a mistake. And yes, when you're a solo PvPer, hell, most of my victories have come from players who are too busy trying to get onto my ship, and while they're in the water, I'm blasting their ship from a distance. Because in addition, the one thing I'm actually kind of decent at so far is landing those really far shots. This is actually beneficial to me because of the fact that I can target you from very far away. So the further you are, the more likely I am of hitting your ship. And if you're in the water and you are too busy trying to swim over and kill me, well, as many of these people have found out, their ships have sunk before. I had a guy once who, no kidding, shot himself over, was in the water. I, in the meantime, was shooting his ship. I got 3 hits before he started killing me. And then he didn't try to sink me like a real player would, or at least an honorable player would. So there, you want to talk about dishonorable. He basically wanted to just sail my ship out of bounds so it would explode. But you know what happened? His ship sunk before I exploded. I was in the black and white. Because when you're going out of bounds, if you've played PvP, you know this, that everything becomes black, white, and gray, and then your ship will finally explode. But all of a sudden, boom! Instead of blowing up, everything snapped back to color. So, I've had people who make that mistake, and they're too busy trying to board. And that's the only way it seems these players, that's all they think that PvP is. Like, oh, I have to board a ship, kill the crew, and try to, you could try to go get your ship, but if you're solo, you can't get your ship and keep me dead at the same time. So it's either you go get your ship, and by the time you've come back with your ship, I'm probably setting sail, which happens a lot, or you keep killing me and try to sail my ship out of bounds, which is basically a pussy move. You want to talk about a coward? That right there is the most cowardly thing you can do. And yeah, you can say, well, it gets results, but you're also a coward. Because you know that I have no chance of being able to break that. Anybody who spawn camps is a coward, because you know your opponent does not have a chance to break out of it. You've played this game long enough, you know this. So whatever it is you're trying to achieve by keeping them dead, now, yes, does it sometimes work in your favor? Very rarely. Because most of the time, if you're not in the PvP match, solo, you have 2 people to deal with or more. On a brig, on a sloop, you only have 2 people, but one can be on a ship while the other's keeping the other person dead. And for some reason, because I don't spawn camp people, for some reason, it always seems to make it easy for the spawn camper. So any of you out there that play that way, yes, you are a coward because you cannot engage in a real fight. You cannot stop a real fight. Now, there are probably a very select few players that can engage in a real fight and actually have the skill. One of the people I like the most that actually is a pro at this game, that's a very good player, is Hippo TC and Fuzzy Bond. Both of them, they have the skill. They can kill you without having to spawn camp you. And they really don't do that. I have hardly ever seen them do that. Unless they are purposely trying to sink your ship for a reason. Either you have something or you engage with them. And then they take these people and they school them. And like, okay, this is how you really do it. But they have the crews and they have the experience to do it. They don't get spawn camped on because they're the ones that only do it if they have to. Hippo TC uses a sword and a pistol, which, if you know, they don't do the most damage. He hates using a blunderbuss, but that is the main weapon of a spawn camper because an up-close blunderbuss does 100 damage. Or at least I'm told, because I've tried to use a blunderbuss to keep people off my ship, to break those spawn campings, and it never seems to work. Even though I shoot them, they never die. The only chance we've ever had is when it's me and my daughter playing, and they have two of us to deal with. Maybe we get lucky and kill the spawn camper, or one of us gets away to fire from a distance. My daughter, she loves using the sniper rifles. In this game, it's called an Eye of Reach. I prefer sniper rifle. And there is a benefit to it, but it's one of the slowest weapons to reload. And it's not an instant kill, no matter how close you are. So, that is why I'm telling you, if you come across a player, and this player in your eyes is running away, well, sorry, that is real naval strategy. They're not going to fight on your terms. And the part that made this guy's video, Chest Venom's video, so cringy was after the fact. After he went through this, he tried it out on another player just to test it. Won that one, I guess, too. He didn't record it. Didn't see the outcome of that. But then he goes on to say, well, you know what? Rare should change the game because I don't want to deal with this. Because I don't have the skill to sail around for an hour or two. I want Rare to make it a change to the game so I don't have to get mad anymore. You know what? If getting mad that someone plays that way, don't play PvP then. You got the skeleton curse. You got the ghost curse. Find something else to do in the game or just don't play it. Don't tell Rare that, oh, you should remove this thing. Because, you know what? If they remove that, they should remove the ability to spawn camp too. If you're on a ship for longer than 5 minutes, you're teleported back to your own ship. Maybe they should do that. Make it fair. But this guy's idea was that after 20 minutes, the circle should shrink. So the ships are forced to fight each other. No. Because you're basically eliminating their strategy. You have your strategy. I have my strategy. Let's go head to head and see which one works. If you can't handle being in a PvP match for an hour, then quit, give me the win, and go find a different player to face. Or get better at sailing, because I'll admit, there are players who I have come up on, who I've gone into a PvP match with when I first was thinking of this, and I started implementing this strategy. And I was already pretty good at sailing, and these situations have made me better. But these players actually could corner me. It is possible that even if somebody is doing my strategy, I can make a mistake that they could have, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Capitalize on a mistake I make. They should know this strategy. You should I implore that everybody who plays Hourglass PvP try this strategy, get good at this strategy, because this is how you're going to learn to beat that strategy. Just like, yes, if forced to, I do try to do PvP. I will try to board a ship if I think I've got the upper hand. I did with that 2 hour. I tried one time with that 2 hour battle. I was the one who found the rowboat. I originally put the rowboat together with powder kegs so I could put it right in the path of his ship. And once he hit that rowboat, I was going to capitalize on that moment. But then he saw the rowboat. He went over and tried to get it. And then he tried to bring it over to my ship. So he stole basically the strategy I was going to use. And ultimately, I just sailed away. And I'm faster because I'm in a freaking sloop, not a rowboat. I couldn't get to his because to get to his ship means I had to go right by him. But that strategy didn't work for either of us. And that was the one time I was going to attempt to get on his ship. And I didn't get on. I didn't spawn camp. I waited. Every time he was off his ship, I tried to sail in close and lay down some cannon fire. Because his ship was unoccupied. That's what we're looking for. When we're sailing around, we're waiting for you to make that mistake. Leave your ship, please. Then we're going to go in, try to get some cannon fire down, destroy your ship before you can get back. Maybe we are the ones that get lucky and you get black screened. So there is a strategy to sailing around. And by telling Rare that they should change the rules because it doesn't help you out, it makes matches last too long. Who are you to decide how long a match should last? In real life, battles would take hours, days. Now, true, they had actual multiple ships. And that brings me to the next point of this strategy. There's storms. There's other players. I had a match once that I was sailing around for 40 minutes having this other ship chase me. And a freaking galleon came up and started attacking my attacker. Eventually, because the sloop was chasing after me, the galleon ended up finding out that it wasn't worth their time, and they just moved on. But the guy was actually saying, hey, let's stop because this galleon's coming. No, you know what? That was part of my strategy. I wanted that galleon to come because I'm not running a Reaper flag. I'm not stupid enough to go into the PvP match with a Reaper flag, which is going to tell everybody on the server where I am. But since they did it, I was like, fine, good. Let your ship draw all the attention because people want those Reaper flags. And since you're a Reaper and you can't run outside the circle, you're trapped. I don't know why that galleon really gave up. I mean, this crew wasn't that good. They ended up quitting after, like I said, 40 minutes. And I ended up getting the win anyway. So, there is a strategy. There is a plan. When we're doing this, we're not just doing this because we're not aware of what we're doing. Because we're too scared to fight. We're doing this because we're fighting on our terms. But I'll tell you what. I've made this comment in Chess Venom's video. If Rare wants to do that, they should do something else. They should give players the ability to lift their ladders. Actually, I think they should do that anyway, because we should have always had that ability on, and it should only happen on a captain ship. If you're not using a captain ship, you can't do it. But if you're using a captain ship, you have the ability to lift your ladders. Now, it could be one pulley system or something right near the ladders. For every ship, galleons, brigs, and sloops, one pulley system, one little thing that just lifts up the ladders. If they want to change something and it really help players out, that's what I think it should be. Because they've already made it harder. You can't cheat your way onto a ship anymore by grabbing the harpoon or cannon when the ship's too low in the water. You can't do that anymore. So give us the ability to lift our ladders. That way, people we don't want on our ship have a harder time getting on. Oh, you can still cannon over if you can get close enough, or you can get the shot. There's nothing we can do to stop that. But give us the ability to lift the ladders, so when we set sail and we lower our sail, raise our anchor, lift our ladders. Once everyone's on board. Typically that's how ships operate. They put the planks out to walk onto the docks only while they're docked. You only really need your ladder when you get to an island or something where you need it. It would prevent so many boarding situations that are unfair. And the owner of the ship, there's other ways we can get on if we fall off during sailing. We can take a mermaid. It takes a little longer. We could die by getting eaten by a shark if you're in the ocean for too long. Hence, that's why I keep so much distance between me and my enemies in a PvP match, so they can get eaten by sharks. But you go to the Ferry of the Damned and you come back and you're back on your ship. Now, ideally, that's not typically what you want when you're at an island, so you're going to need to lower the ladder so you can quickly get on board. If you have someone on board protecting your ship, great, they can harpoon you back on. But you might want the ladder down just in case. So I feel like the ladder should be able to be raised. And if Rare wants to change the rules, fine. Then do that too. It's fair on both sides. Makes it harder for people to board our ships, and it forces us to combat each other without getting boarded. Or, like I said, put a freaking time limit. If you're going to put a time limit on the match, then start putting time limits on how long you could be on board an enemy ship before you get black screened instantly and sent back to your own ship. I think that's only fair. And if you can't sail the ship out of bounds in 5 minutes, well, then you're a pretty piss poor sailor. But moving on, I said I was going to suggest how Rare can fix some of their issues with the community. Now, we do have new Tall Tales coming out, and it has been leaked out that they are working on a way to make the past adventures playable. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out, because some of the past adventures require you to basically work alongside other pirates. And I'm not really sure how well this is going to do, because unless it's like a single server, is going to be like you go through a portal to a single server where you actually get that, like a world event, but for that exact mystery. Okay, maybe that'll work. because everybody's there to do those adventures. They're there for that specific reason. Maybe that can work. But how many people are going to want to do it? And what's it going to be worth? Are we going to get the titles and stuff that came from those the first time? Is there going to be anything in it to learn it? Because, oh, yes, while it would have been great to experience it, the story's old. We already know what happened. We already have been told the tales. It would have been interesting to get those rewards, but if there's no rewards in it, why do we want to do it? Like I said, there's only so much you can give away in this game. Now, I feel like there should be a fix to the reward system. I've heard a lot of people like, oh, well, it's not fair if you played since the beginning and they give out these rewards that came out in the beginning and aren't available anymore, like during the first time they tried Arena or the first year had everything running, that you got special sales and clothing items and stuff. I understand that. I get it. So you're right. They shouldn't give out that stuff, but they should at the same time. So here's my fix for it. Why not re-release the item, but make it like if it's a sale for your ship, it has dirt on it. It has just marks on it, like cuts, nicks out of the sides. It's not a brand spanking looking new sail. Make it slightly different, a little grungy, a little dirty. Like it's actually been sitting in storage for a long time, maybe chewed on by some rats. But somebody's recovered a box of them and given them out. So you got the day one players who have theirs, the same sales, just in pristine condition. And then you have the re-release sales, which don't look as pristine, but still have that same look from doing that same thing. I feel like, if everybody's going to get to do these things, it should have the same rewards. Just make it like a little bit different. So it is the same thing. It's just a little bit different. Also, I'd like to see them release more things that I'm tired of hearing about. Oh, this person has DA sales. I'd like to see them release some similar items, but with different looks. I don't particularly care for the DA sales, and I play my ships based off of my themes. Because I have a pirate book coming in the future. And I'm kind of starting to design like some of the ships that I'm going to use in the books. And Sea of Thieves is really helpful in that. Let's see what else. Like I said, do something to combat the ability to spawn camp opponents. Because, like my daughter, luckily she's forgiving. I've said this before, I think, in a past video, when we were bullied one day by an experienced player, when we were trying to help out a new player who was brand new to the game, and then, he had his ship set in open crew. This experienced player jumped onto this guy's ship, and then just immediately took over this kid's ship and started attacking us. And my daughter was heartbroken. I almost thought that was it. I thought she would never come back to the game. But luckily she has. It took her a while, and it didn't take her as long this one time, but that I was saying where we got attacked right at the dock. But yeah, I mean, it still took some time. And little kids who do play, there are little kids who play this game. Little kids, and sometimes even adults, are going to say, forget this, I'm done. This game's stupid. I have the same guy, he's a big advocate for Final Fantasy 14. Says, I make this game sound super interesting. But the problems that I run into, he doesn't want to waste his time playing Sea of Thieves because he's going to probably go through a lot of what I'm going through. And it's a waste of his time, and it's going to only piss him off. So me talking about these things, even though I tell him it's not all the time. It's only those, I want to say it's a rare few, but there are so many players who act this way, who think that I see a ship, I gotta kill it. I gotta kill it, I gotta kill the crew, even if they don't have treasure. That's what makes no sense. A lot of times that this happens, I don't have any treasure. Why are you attacking me? You don't get points. There's no reason for it. I'm not running an emissary flag. I refuse to run an emissary flag unless I have to. So most of the time I've played this game, I hardly ever run, and I never run a Reaper flag. I tried running a Reaper flag when the PvP Hourglass started because I was hearing, you get more points if you win. So I tried. And I just kept losing. So I kept saying, forget it. I'm done. I'm not running the Reaper flag. If I have to get points slower, fine. But at least I'll climb slowly but surely. And I'll learn PvP. I'm trying to get better at the PvP. But if you go changing the rules because I'm not playing your way, then I'm not going to learn, and it's just going to be skilled and scaled to those kinds of players that just go around and kill everybody just for the hell. Which case, guess what? You are pushing away potential new players, and you're driving away the few players that are helping you keep this game alive. And you could say, well, there's millions of players. But you know what? A lot of these big players that the little players follow, they're not playing as much anymore. Oh, they still play. They still have accounts. They still play. But they're not playing as much. And what does that tell you? If you eat pizza every day because you love pizza from this certain place, but then the certain place, it's just not tasting as good anymore, and maybe one day you go out to another place. It's okay, but it's still not what you like. Or you go to another place, and you start getting a little bit of variety, and now you only go and get pizza once a week. You see what I'm saying? You're not really into it anymore. You're going to find other things. And that's what's going on, is people are being driven out of this game by cheaters, by people who think the only point of this game is PvP. There is hardly any community actions of things of working together. Even on Community Day weekend, yes, there might have been more players in because they doubled up on points that they were giving. They doubled up on gold that you could earn. But there was no incentive to work together with other players. There was no incentive to try to create friendships with other crews. They should have had some sort of incentive, like if you make an alliance, for every ship in your alliance, you get 2 times the gold for everything your alliance sells. More people would have been in an alliance. And there might have been people who would be like, no, I don't care about gold, so I don't want to be in your alliance. But that is an option that could have been available. And it wasn't. So their community day isn't really pushing for people to work together. And I would like to get the Glitterbeard accessory and experience that Glitterbeard story, but I can't, because there's never going to be a time I can get enough players together, because even if I sail my galleon, which I do have one, even if I sail the galleon, I can only have 4 players on the galleon, and you need 8. So that means I have to find another galleon on the same server that's willing to go through the painstaking quest of the Glitterbeard stuff to access that. To pay homage to one of the developers that died. And I will never get to experience that because the community is just crap. Nobody wants to work together. And if they do, those people are far and few between. I came up with an idea that there should be a bounty system where your bounty is 50 gold times the number of commendations you've got. And there's like 1,000 commendations. So let's say there's exactly 1,000. That's 50,000 you're worth. Now you can never get that 50,000 yourself. You can't go turn in your poster and get the 50,000. But my idea was that they could have a bounty post at Port Merrick, maybe with a few bounty shacks in other locations. And at the one at Port Merrick, you could turn in other players' bounty posters and collect the bounty. Whatever you spawn in for your ship, so you start the game, your bounty poster is now on your ship. Either by your map table or something, they can find a place to put it. But your bounty poster is there. And then, anybody who joins your crew, their bounty posters go up next to yours. But next to your name, or at the beginning of your name, it'll always say Captain, and then whatever your player name is. I also feel that we should have the ability to give our pirates names as well. So you go to Port Merrick and you register your pirate in this little office where you get to pick a name for your pirate. And you don't want to put something like Captain Jack Sparrow, because when you're on board your captained ship, it'll already say on your bounty poster, Captain Jack Sparrow. So if you actually put in Captain Jack Sparrow as your pirate name, then it'd be Captain Jack Sparrow, which would just be stupid. So you don't want to do that. You just want to put like Jack Sparrow, and then on your bounty poster on your ship, it'll say Captain Jack Sparrow. So, and they should also probably lock out inappropriate names and any big, well-known pirate names from either history or movies like Jack Sparrow or James Hook. You know, other than that, they can let players get creative, but I feel like That would be an interesting way. And at the Port Merrick one, there could actually be a billboard of every pirate on the server with their bounty posters. You can't take those ones. You've got to go find their ship. You got to sink their ship to get the posters off their ship. But then you go to those ships, or you go to that place, and it tells you, okay, we'll keep using Captain Jack Sparrow since everybody knows Pirates of the Caribbean. Captain Jack Sparrow, Captain of the Black Pearl, or ship Black Pearl. And then underneath that, it could say last known position, Sanctuary Outpost. Okay, so you're at Plunder Outpost. Now you gotta sail up to Sanctuary because that was the last place they sold anything. The last outpost where they sold stuff. So at least you got an idea of where they are. And you could go looking for the person on the map that has the highest bounty. Or you could look for the person with the lowest bounty, and you could go try to help that player. Now maybe you betray that player after, kill them, sink their ship, take their bounty poster. They can make it to where you don't actually even need to sink the ship. You just gotta get on board, grab a bounty poster, and get off. That alone could be worth money. So that's just my idea on something they could do. And I think that could be beneficial to helping out other players. And I've been saying this, because some players don't know about hidden accommodations, things that you can do in the game. Like, I just found one the other day. I've, like I said, played this game for almost a year. And I just sat down in the tavern for the first time and got the accommodation called Sea of Thieves. Because I sat at a table with another player. I had no clue that was a commendation. I was like, what the heck? They have some silly commendations in this game. Like, you gotta sleep in a bunk bed at a fortress. So after you defeat all the phantoms, you go up to the 3rd floor, and you both have to sleep in a bunk bed at the same time. And that right there is accommodation. Another 50 gold on your bounty. Just silly, stupid things like that. It could at least get you up to a couple thousand by helping a new player do some of that stuff. Hell, just for learning the sword block, you get accommodation. So that's my solution. Honestly, I'm really hoping that Season 10 is going to bring some real good stuff. They're talking about guilds. I don't know what is going to make guilds different from factions. Because, I don't know, it just seems... I'm hoping that it's actually going to be like a bunch of new factions that, are going to be worth new, cooler rewards. But we'll have to wait and see. I really don't know what else all they could add into this game. I would love for them to finally add in a new area. Maybe like a northern area past the Coral Fortress. Maybe extend it up to the north where you have floating icebergs. And you got to deal with cold. So now we can get in some like Arctic stuff. Because every once in a while you get an ice storm or something. And if you're in the ice storm for too long, your ship will get damaged. Or you could take damage from hail. You'll also have to look out for icebergs. Fog will be a major issue up in those areas. That would be really interesting. And there will be some new islands with secrets of their own to discover. Maybe some interesting ideas that they could bring in. I don't know, but it would be really cool to see some of that. I really was hoping that that's how they were going to bring the Monkey Island stuff to fruition, that it was just going to be a new area for us to explore, but alas, no. I am looking forward to the Monkey Island stuff, and I will probably stream it on Twitch. So that should be coming near the end of the month. So if you want to watch me and Cora, we will be embarking on those tall tales the day they come out. So we hope you'll join us for that. We're going to kick off our major pirate celebration. We got a big month for September, which we usually do our own little pirate month in September. We got a lot of stuff planned for that, so it's also going to be my birthday and my father's birthday, so we'll probably be doing something for my birthday. We're releasing a special video for his birthday. He won't see it until after, though, because I'll be away, so. But hopefully when he sees it, he'll love it, so. Yeah, so anyways, I really hope things change. I really hope the cheaters out there, if you're cheating, please stop. You're killing this game. And I mean, if that's your goal, fine, I guess. I'm sure we'll all move on to other games. It would be sad to see Sea of Thieves go. Sad to see Rare shut down servers for a game that they actually did build a really good game. It's really interesting. I do like it. I'd like it more if I wasn't harassed a lot. But, I mean, you want to talk... I know, I'm going back into this. You want to talk about people who are cowards, though? So lately, since I've gotten since I've beaten all the tall tales at least once, I do have to do some of them again, and I gotta find all the journals for them to unlock the gold curse. But lately, I'm done. I'm waiting for season 10 to come out, or I'm waiting for the Monkey Island to come out. So there's not a lot for me to do. Not a lot that I care about right now. I mean, PvP, great. I might do that once in a while, but that's not my goal. And since I really do need to work on my PvP skills, I kind of am. I am sort of working on the whole getting the Sales of Fortune. I'm up to like 11 chests of fortune so far. So I'm getting there slowly but surely. But one of the funnest things I've actually been doing lately is I'm trying to learn how to better tuck on ships. And I've been tucking on ships by sinking my ship, going to a port, sinking my ship, then hiding out at the outpost, waiting for new players to spawn in. And as soon as I see the ship spawn in, I get on board, I tuck. I find a good spot, and I hide there and wait. Now, I watched a video where HippoTC said recently on YouTube that when you get on board an enemy ship, you don't have a mermaid anymore. The mermaid goes away. Now, if you know whether that's true or not, please leave it in the comments below. Because if that is true, I'd really like to know how the hell these players know I'm there. So I clearly know that they are not cheating, because if they were cheating, the cheat that you can use, from what I've heard from people who have looked into the cheats, there's a cheat that lets you see every player on the map, as if, really crappy text. I don't know how you'd play that way. I've seen clip shots of it, but you can see all the players on your system, where they're at, how close they are versus how far they are, but you can see everything. It's really annoying. And so they clearly aren't using that, because they'll just start shooting Random places. I climbed up to the crow's nest of this ship, did my hiding up there, and I watched these two guys come out of the tavern, go, an enemy's here, and just start shooting around it randomly. And then they disappeared, and the ship sank itself. I'm like, did they just really quit because they saw my mermaid? They didn't even think that maybe it's a glitch? That, you want to talk about a coward? That's a coward. I mean, they didn't even try to find me. They're just like, oh my god, someone's here! Bye! I was like, okay, could have put a little bit more effort instead of just shooting randomly. I mean, maybe, possibly, there was somebody else on the island, but I didn't see anybody. And I was there a while, so. But no, these guys, they didn't even try to find me or fight me or anything, you know. They didn't even go to their ship. They didn't even make it to their ship. They just logged out. I'm like, okay. So I waited, and finally another ship popped in, and I did it over again. This guy didn't find me. But then a couple days later, I was doing the same thing. And I got on this guy's ship. It was a sloop. And I heard a gunshot. But then I never saw him. And his ship just sank itself. So he scuttled his ship. I don't know. I mean, so I don't know if that is exactly true, that once you're on board an enemy ship, you no longer have a mermaid. Because I don't understand how people are finding me. Because when you load into the game, the first thing it does before you're even loaded in is it drops your ship in. And it's really cool to watch the ships drop in. They only drop about a few inches from the water, but they just drop in. And then you're going to go through the entire wake up sequence where you lift your head and stand up. So you can't be looking around at that point, which means I have a good 15 seconds to be on your ship, climbing, getting into a good tuck spot before you could even turn around. And most players are going to go straight to the barrels and start picking up supplies before they head out to their ships, unless they're waiting for a friend. And that might make them take longer. But yeah, so I don't know. But anyways, I want to thank you so much. If you have not, please consider checking out our other videos. We've been having a little bit of a downfall on our D&D episodes, which is kind of upsetting Cora, making her not want to do it right now. I told her just hold out. Pirate Month is coming. We got a lot planned. She's really excited for it. I'm really excited for it. She wants to finish the 2 pirate movies. We got some other pirate movies besides Pirates of the Caribbean, so we got some other pirate stuff planned. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good month in September. We're just going through some summer movies. So yeah, please check out our D&D videos. Check out my other videos. And that's all I'm basically going to bring up today in this episode. I want to thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please leave your comments down below. And I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.